I need her gone. This can't continue. Kalla's hand froze on the office door. Through the gap, she saw Junsu pacing, phone pressed to his ear. My family will never accept this. The liability is too great. The lunch bag slipped from her fingers. Bibimbap and bulgogi scattered across the hallway carpet. She didn't pick it up. She just backed away, one step then another, until her shoulder hit the wall. I don't care about the complications. End it. Today. I want her out by Friday. Hold up. Before we continue, let me know you're here. Smash that like button if you're already hooked. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome to the family. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Drop a comment telling me, where are you right now and what's the local time? I read every single one. All right, let's get back to what happens next. Kalla ran. She didn't wait for the elevator. The stairs blurred past her as she stumbled down 12 flights, her breath coming in gasps. Marcus, the security guard, called after her in the lobby. Mrs. Kang, you okay? She didn't answer. The words kept echoing. I need her gone. My family will never accept this. She'd found out that morning. 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. 6 weeks. She'd been so happy, so stupid. By the time she reached their apartment, her hands had stopped shaking. Something colder had settled in her chest. She sat on the couch and stared at the pregnancy test on the coffee table. The doorbell rang at 8:15. Eugene stood there in a black suit, carrying a leather folder. We need to talk. Kalla let her in because she didn't know what else to do. Eugene didn't waste time. She pulled out a tablet and pressed play. Security footage. Junsu in his office, his voice crystal clear. I need her gone. This can't continue. My family will never accept this. He was talking about you, Eugene said. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. No, Kalla's voice cracked. We're happy. He made a mistake. Eugene opened the folder. Divorce papers. Junsu's signature at the bottom, perfect and damning. He wanted me to handle this delicately. 8 months of marriage. 8 months of believing she'd found someone who saw her, really saw her. 8 months of pretending his family's coldness didn't matter because he chose her anyway. All of it, apparently, a lie. There's something else. Eugene pulled out medical documents, ultrasound images. Do you know Jiwon Park? Kalla's stomach turned. His ex-fiancé. They broke up 3 years ago. They never really ended things. She's pregnant. 8 weeks. The ultrasound image swam in front of Kalla's eyes. Jiwon's name at the top. Medical records dated 2 months ago. While Kalla was planning their anniversary dinner, Junsu was. The family wants him to do the right thing. Eugene's voice was gentle, almost kind. Marry Jiwon, raise the child properly. Properly. The word hit like a slap. Eugene slid a check across the table. $50,000. Junsu wanted to make sure you're taken care of. For my time? Anger flared hot and sharp. Consider it a settlement. You sign the papers, deposit the check, move on with your life. Kalla looked at the pregnancy test inches away from the divorce papers. She should tell Eugene, should tell Junsu. But if he wanted out, if he had a baby with Jiwon, what was the point? She wouldn't trap him, wouldn't be that woman. I need time to think. Junsu would like this resolved by tomorrow. He doesn't want this to become complicated. After Eugene left, Kalla packed. 1 suitcase, cash from the dresser, her nursing credentials, nothing that could be traced. She left her phone, her credit cards, everything connected to Junsu. On the kitchen counter, she wrote 5 words. I can't do this. Sorry. She placed her wedding ring beside the note and walked out. The Greyhound station at 11:45 smelled like diesel and desperation. Vancouver. $45. The bus left at 1 in the morning. She sat in the corner, hood up, watching other travelers, everyone running from something. Her phone buzzed. Junsu. Where are you? I'm home. Are you okay? She powered it off, removed the SIM card, dropped it in the trash. The border agent at 3 in the morning barely looked at her passport. Purpose of visit? Tourism. How long? A week. He stamped it, waved her through. She'd never used the return ticket. Kalla stared out the window as Seattle disappeared, put her hand on her stomach, whispered to the baby she hadn't planned for. I'm sorry. Junsu stood in their apartment holding a piece of paper and a ring. The note didn't make sense. I can't do this. Can't do what? They were happy. They were fine. Work had been stressful with the embezzlement situation, but that had nothing to do with them. He called her phone, voicemail, called again, again. Texted, "Where are you? Please call me. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. I love you. I'm scared. Please respond." Nothing. He called her mother in Atlanta. No answer. 2:30 in the morning there. He called her best friend Keisha. No answer. He called Seattle Children's Hospital. She wasn't on shift. Her phone charger sat on the nightstand. Her credit cards on the dresser. Her work ID by the door. But her clothes were gone. Her toiletries. Her documents. She hadn't just left. She'd planned this. At 2 in the morning, Junsu drove to the police station. Officer Martinez had the patience of someone who'd heard desperate stories every night. She's an adult who left a note. Technically, she's not missing. She left voluntarily. But something's wrong. She wouldn't just leave. We'll file the report, Mr. Kang, but unless there's evidence of foul play, our hands are tied. By 8 the next morning, Junsu had hired Marcus Webb, the best private investigator in Seattle. Tell me everything. Junsu provided photos, information, timeline, everything he could think of. Any idea where she might go? Her mother is in Atlanta. Her best friend is in Seattle. That's it. She doesn't have much family. I'll start there. Money didn't matter. Nothing mattered except finding her. He called Diane Johnson at 9. Have you heard from Kala? No. Why? What's wrong? She's gone. She left last night. What do you mean gone? She left a note. Said she can't do this. I don't know what that means. We didn't fight. Everything was fine. Did you do something? The question stung. No. I was at work all day. I came home and she was gone. I'll catch the next flight. But Diane couldn't help. Keisha couldn't help. The private investigators couldn't help. Kala had vanished. Vancouver swallowed her whole. She arrived at Pacific Central Station at 5 in the morning with $755 and no plan. The city stretched out before her, foreign and overwhelming. Glass towers, homeless encampments, early morning commuters, street cleaners. By 8, she found a women's shelter in East Vancouver. Linda had kind eyes and a tired smile. Are you fleeing domestic violence? No, I just needed to leave. You can stay for 30 days. After that, you need a plan. A bed in a shared room with 3 other women, a small locker, access to a shared bathroom. It was the first time she'd stopped moving since leaving Seattle. She lay on the thin mattress, hand on her stomach, and cried. 4 days later, she went to the East Van Community Health Clinic. Dr. Elizabeth Chen confirmed what Kala already knew. You're about 7 weeks pregnant. Due date is late November. I don't have insurance. I can pay cash. We work on a sliding scale. Let's not worry about that right now. Dr. Chen's voice was gentle. Is there anyone who can support you through this? Kala shook her head. Then we'll support you. You're not alone. Those 4 words broke something inside her. She sobbed in the clinic room while Dr. Chen held her hand. But being not alone and being safe were different things. Kala needed money, needed work, needed to survive. Finding a job without Canadian work authorization proved impossible through legal channels, but there were other channels that didn't ask questions. She became a house cleaner. $15 an hour, cash, no questions. She scrubbed toilets in West Vancouver mansions while her baby grew. She cleaned nurseries filled with expensive cribs and organic sheets, and she cried silently while wiping down changing tables she'd never afford. By late April, Kala moved into a basement suite in East Vancouver, $650 a month, shared with 2 other women who didn't ask questions. In June, she added a second job, a Caribbean restaurant on Commercial Drive. Pauline reminded her of her grandmother. Warm, protective. When are you due? Kala was 5 months pregnant. November. And the father? Not in the picture. You have family here? No, ma'am. Pauline squeezed her hand. Well, you do now. It was the first time since leaving Seattle that Kala felt human instead of invisible, but warmth didn't pay bills. By October, heavily pregnant and desperate, Kala took a 3rd job, night shift at the Seabus Terminal Cafe. 11 at night until 7 in the morning. Derek was the kind of man who enjoyed power over people who had none. You're 7 months pregnant. You sure you can handle this? I need the job. No bathroom breaks during rush. No sitting. You're on your feet the whole shift. I understand. She needed the money. Hospital births cost 8 to 10,000 without insurance. She had 3,200 saved. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But she worked anyway, through swollen feet and back pain, through false contractions and exhaustion, through humiliation, because what choice did she have? Junsu was destroying himself looking for her. He hired 5 private investigators, checked every hospital in the Pacific Northwest, every shelter, every nursing job posting, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York, Boston. He never thought to check Canada. His business suffered, his partners worried. In September, he flew to Vancouver for a business meeting and visited his grandfather. They sat in the garden at the family estate. "You look terrible," Pilsu said. "I lost her, Harabaoji. Tell me about her." Junsu talked about Kala, how they met, how they fell in love. "Does she know about your grandmother, that she was white, that your family disowned you?" "Yes, I told her." "Then she didn't leave because of us. She left because of something else." Pilsu's voice was firm. "You have to find her to find out what." By November, Junsu had spent hundreds of thousands on investigators. He'd neglected his business, pushed away his friends, stopped sleeping in their bed because it still smelled like her. And then, on December 11th, he took a ferry from Vancouver Island back to the mainland. He walked into the terminal at 11:52, discussing Health Canada approvals with James and Victor, and he saw her, wiping tables in a cafe uniform, 7 months pregnant, moving slowly, like every step hurt. His brain couldn't process it. His heart stopped. "Kala." She looked up. Their eyes met. The tray slipped from her hands. Ceramic shattered across the floor. The terminal went silent. Junsu crossed the space between them. "Kala." She backed away, shaking her head. "No, you can't be here." "Where have you been? I've been looking everywhere." He stopped, stared at her stomach. "Are you pregnant?" She didn't answer. "Kala, are you pregnant?" "Leave me alone." "How far along?" "It doesn't matter." "How far along?" 7 months. The math hit him like a freight train. 7 months. She left in March, which meant she was pregnant when she left, which meant, "Were you going to tell me?" "Tell you what? That I was pregnant with a baby you didn't want? From a marriage you ended?" "What marriage I ended?" "Kala, what are you talking about?" Derek appeared, nervous and angry. "Look, I don't know what this is, but she's still on the clock." Junsu turned slowly. "What's your name?" "Derek Morrison. I'm the night manager." "Derek, do you know who I am?" "No." "My name is Junsu Kang. My company supplies medications to every hospital in this province, including the one where your wife Susan just started chemotherapy at Vancouver General." Derek's face drained of color. "Her treatment? The medication keeping her alive? My company provides it. And I'm suddenly very interested in how you treat your pregnant employees." Silence. Junsu turned back to Kala. His voice softened. "Get your things, please." "I need this job." "You don't. Not anymore. Please, just come with me." She looked at him. This man she'd loved. This man she'd run from. "Did you ever file for divorce?" "What?" "No, Kala, I never filed for divorce. I don't know what you're talking about." Something in his voice made her pause. Genuine confusion. "Yujin came to our apartment. She had papers. Your signature was on them." Junsu's expression changed, hardened. "My sister came to you?" "She showed me a video. You were on the phone. You said you needed me gone, that your family would never accept it." Understanding dawned in his eyes. "What day?" "March 15th, around 2. I was firing Henry Park, my head of distribution. He'd been embezzling for 6 months. He stepped closer. "I was talking about an employee, not you. Never you." Kala's knees buckled. Junsu caught her. "And Jiwon?" Her voice cracked. "Your ex? Her baby?" "Jiwon married a Seoul City councilor 2 years ago. She has 2 kids. She sends Christmas cards." The world tilted. But Yujin had medical documents, ultrasound images. Forged, all of it. 7 months. 7 months of running, of hiding, of working herself to exhaustion, of being alone and terrified. All because of a lie. Why would she do that? I don't know, but we're going to find out. He helped her gather her things. Derek didn't say a word. Victor and James waited by the exit, silent and shocked. In the car, Calla started to cry. Not quiet tears. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from 7 months of holding everything inside. Junsu didn't speak. He just drove. And when they reached his penthouse in Cole Harbor, he helped her inside and held her while she broke apart. "I looked for you," he whispered. "Every single day. I never stopped. I was so scared." "I know. I'm sorry." They sat on the couch, and he made her tea, and he ordered food, and he called Dr. Anjali Singh even though it was 2 in the morning. And slowly, piece by piece, they started putting together what Eugene had done. The edited video, the forged divorce papers, the fake medical records, the stolen money. By morning, they knew the truth. Eugene had been embezzling from the company for over a year. She was engaged to a prosecutor investigating pharmaceutical companies. She needed the family to look traditional, united. She needed Junsu to marry someone Korean from a respectable family. She needed Calla gone, so she destroyed their marriage with lies. Dr. Singh arrived at 2:30 in the morning with portable ultrasound equipment. Ethan called, said it was urgent. She examined Calla with professional kindness. "You're malnourished, anemic, but the baby's heartbeat is strong." She set up the ultrasound. Junsu held Calla's hand. They both watched the screen. "Would you like to know the sex?" They nodded. "It's a girl." Junsu's eyes filled with tears. "A daughter. We're having a daughter." Calla squeezed his hand. For the first time in 7 months, she felt something other than fear. 3 days later, Junsu confronted Eugene at their grandfather's estate. Pilsu sat at the head of the table, 82 years old and still sharp as ever. Junsu played the unedited footage, showed the embezzlement records, presented evidence of forged documents. Eugene's composure cracked. "I did it for the family. She doesn't belong here. She's not one of us." Pilsu looked at his granddaughter with disappointment that cut deeper than anger. "I married a white woman in 1953, your grandmother. They spit on us in the streets, and I would do it again." His voice was steel. "Get out of my house." Eugene was arrested. Her engagement ended, her life unraveled, but justice didn't erase the damage. 6 weeks later, Calla went into labor. 38 hours of exhaustion and pain. Junsu never left her side. At hour 12, she screamed at him to leave. He didn't. At hour 24, she apologized, crying. He told her she had nothing to apologize for. At hour 30, she asked him to talk about anything. He told her about every place he searched, every street in Vancouver, every shelter, every hospital. At hour 36, she was too tired to push. He held her up. The nurses showed him how. When Aaliyah was born, there were 10 seconds of silence. 10 seconds that felt like death. Then a wail. Junsu's shoulders shook with silent tears. Calla sobbed. They placed the baby on her chest, skin to skin, covered in vernix, crying. "Hi, baby," Calla whispered. "We're your parents. We're right here." "We're right here," Junsu echoed, forehead pressed against hers. 1 year later, they got married again. Not a rushed ceremony, but a real wedding. Their daughter present, their real family surrounding them. Grandfather Pilsu officiated. Junsu's vows were simple. "I promise to make you visible, always, in every room. I will never let you disappear again." Calla's were just as simple. "I promise to ask instead of assume. I promise to stay instead of run." 5 years after that night in the ferry terminal, they had 3 children. Aaliyah, 5 years old, serious and curious. Malik, 3, wild and fearless. Zuri, 1, just learning to walk. Calla returned to nursing, opened a community clinic in East Vancouver for undocumented workers and new immigrants, the people she'd lived among, the people who'd shown her kindness when she had nothing. Junsu transformed his business. No more gray areas, no more questionable deals, legitimate, clean. He funded Calla's clinic and 3 others like it. They didn't pretend the betrayal never happened. They didn't pretend those 7 months didn't leave scars, but they chose each other anyway, every single day. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the strongest foundations, because when everything is stripped away, what remains is what actually matters. Trust isn't given, it's earned, every single day. through actions, not words, through showing up, especially when it's hard. Love isn't a feeling, it's a choice, made over and over again, in hospital rooms and ferry terminals, in basement suites and penthouses, in moments of joy and moments of despair. Calla learned that survival isn't the same as living, that asking for help isn't weakness, that sometimes the people who hurt you most are the ones you least expect. Junsu learned that protection isn't the same as presence, that keeping someone in the dark doesn't keep them safe, that love requires vulnerability, even when it's terrifying. And they both learned that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up, who hold your hand through 38 hours of labor, who give you a job when you're desperate, who say you're not alone and mean it. Yujin served 3 years for embezzlement. When she got out, she sent one letter, an apology. Calla never responded. Some bridges, once burned, stay burned. Junsu's mother tried to reconcile when Malik was born. Junsu refused. You enabled her. You knew what she was doing. That makes you complicit. But Grandfather Pilsu became the children's favorite person. He told them stories about their great-grandmother Margaret, about facing prejudice with dignity, about choosing love over comfort. Your parents, he told Aliyah on her 5th birthday, are the bravest people I know. Remember that. When things get hard, you be brave too. On the 6th anniversary of that night in the ferry terminal, Junsu and Calla stood on Wreck Beach, watching their children play in the sand. Malik had just eaten sand again. Zuri kept falling. Aliyah was building an elaborate castle. You know what I think about sometimes? Calla said. That ferry terminal. How scared I was. Me too. But if I could go back, I don't know if I'd change it, because I don't know if we'd be here. This version of us. I'd change it. I'd burn the world down to spare you that pain. I know, that's why I love you. Aliyah ran up. Mama, Malik ate sand again. The moment broke. They ran after their kids. The Vancouver skyline stretched across the water, mountains in the distance. This impossible family on the beach. Sometimes you have to lose everything to understand what matters. Sometimes you have to run to learn how to stay. Sometimes the darkest moment comes right before the dawn. Calla thought she was running away, but really, she was running toward strength she didn't know she had, toward a life she had to fight for, toward a love that survived lies and distance and 7 months of silence. And that's the truth nobody tells you about betrayal. It doesn't just break you, it shows you what you're made of, what you'll endure, what you'll fight for, what you'll choose when everything else falls away. Trust is earned. Love is chosen, family is built, and sometimes the weight of silence is exactly what you need to hear what actually matters. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories about love, betrayal, and redemption. Drop a comment telling me what you learned from Calla and Junsu's journey, and remember, verify your truth, protect your peace. Never let anyone make you disappear. See you in the next one.